Cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars to broadcast 273 regarding a murder at 9th and Wall Streets. Assist the officer. That's all. Rosenwood.
Public enemy number one of the motorist is the treacherous lubricant that promises to protect but doesn't, that pretends to be strong but is actually weak. It's a crime, friends, to put that kind of oil in your crankcase. And believe me, that kind of crime doesn't pay either. It does pay to use real lube. And here are some of the reasons. You can't break it down with the engine heat of your fastest speed. And, this is especially important in weather such as this, the swift, ready flow of real lube to every part of your motor can't be retarded by even 0 temperatures. You know what this means. That even though your car has stood in a cold garage or out in the open all night, this pure 100% paraffin base oil reaches even the most remote moving part of your motor the instant you step on the starter. Real lube goes to work immediately. And right here I want to say this. If the oil you're using is loafing on the job, put Real Lube to work for you not later than tomorrow morning when you drop around at your neighborhood Rio Grande station for that police car performance Rio Grande Cracked, the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. The story we are to dramatize tonight has been taken from the confidential files of the Los Angeles Police Department. We have therefore asked Captain Russell Smith of the robbery detail to present a foreword to our program.
For more than 5 years, this department has been cooperating with the sponsors of Calling All Cars in their endeavor to make known to the listeners of this program the problems that face law enforcement officers in their quest for the solution to crimes. The fact that we have reiterated the truth that crime of any sort is a losing game, criminals still feel that they can beat that game. Tonight's story is a case in point. The man who committed the crime, of which we shall tell you tonight, had every incentive to go straight, to be a good citizen. But the lure of easy money made him blind to the losing nature of the game he tried to play. We shall see as the program progresses how he learned that crime never can pay.
It is nearing the hour of midnight on December 22nd, 1928. Officer H.D. Ward, patrolling the district around 9th and Wall Streets, Los Angeles, is just emerging from the deep shadows into the light of a street lamp when the sound of running feet brings him up short. Racing toward him is a wild-eyed youth.
Officer! Officer! Come quick! There's a dead man up there.
A dead man, you say? Where?
Up at the street there, in the parking lot.
All right, come on.
I think he's been murdered. He's all bloody.
This is the parking lot, you mean?
Yeah. He's right over there by that old auto body.
His flashlight's going to come in handy. It's blacker than the ace of spades back there.
He's lying right between the auto body and that Ford truck. There, you got your flashlight on him now.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, he's dead, all right. And you're right about its being murder. When did you come across him?
Oh, just a few minutes ago.
What were you doing back here in the dark at this time of night?
Oh, I live in this auto body. I fixed it up so as I could sleep in it.
You mean to say you live in this thing?
Yeah. Oh, it's okay with the guy who runs the filling station up front there.
It may be okay with him for you to live here, but I don't think he'll appreciate having people bumped off in his parking lot. So I think you better come along with me while I phone headquarters.
A short time later, Detective Lieutenant L.E. Sanderson and Blaney Matthews, Assistant Chief of Detectives of the District Attorney's Bureau of Investigation, arrive at the scene of the murder. Detectives from the Central Flying Squadron are already firing questions at young Parker, the youth who discovered the body, when the two investigators joined the group.
I didn't do it, I tell you.
Well, you're the one who found him, aren't you?
Sure, I found him all right, but I never bumped him off.
Who's this young fellow, Carney? Oh, hello, Sanderson. Says his name's Sam Parker. Lives in this parking lot, in the auto body where the murdered man was found. Probably knows more than he's willing to tell.
Now, hang on to him. We'll take a look at the dead man first.
Okay, Mr. Matthews.
Any idea who the victim is?
Parker says his name's Bill Hanson, that he's been living in his truck, that Ford over there.
I see. What do you make of it, Sandy?
Well, there's not much doubt as to how he was killed. You can see for yourself the top of his skull's crushed in, and there's all those deep gashes on his head and face. I'd say he's been dead about 3 hours.
Most likely clubbed to death with some kind of a heavy weapon.
Look at his hands, Matthews. They're all skinned up. Somebody's dragged him over a rough surface. Probably the gravel of this parking lot.
Yeah.
Let's take a look around that Ford truck of Hanson's that Carney pointed out. We might find something.
Okay.
I wish I knew just how much that fellow Parker knows about this. Maybe if we... There. Take a look at that, Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
Here, at the rear of the truck.
A pool of blood. And a big one at that.
There's another one over there. And by George, there's a man's blood-stained hat lying right at the edge of it.
Green fedora, eh?
You know, Matthews, I think Hanson was struck right here at his own truck. See where the gravel's disturbed?
Yeah, that's plain enough.
That'd account for his skinned-up hands. He must have been dragged across the lot to the auto body where Parker sleeps.
It's reasonable.
I'm going to show this hat to Parker and see what he says.
Good idea. I wish we could find a motive for this business.
Now, one will most likely pop up. They generally do.
Here's hoping this won't be the exception.
Say, Parker, take a look at this hat, will you?
Yeah?
Is this yours?
No, it ain't mine. It's Hanson's. I seen him wearing it.
How long have you known Hanson?
Oh, about a week. He drove that old truck in here and paid Ralph Moore for a week's parking. Said he was looking to buy a new car to go on traveling in.
Who's Ralph Moore?
The guy that runs the filling station in the parking lot. I done a little work around here for him, and he let me sleep in that old truck body over there.
How long have you been here, Parker? Sleeping here on the lot, I mean.
Oh, about 3 weeks, I guess. Been tramping the country, but just try and find a job.
Did Hanson have any money?
Sure, he carried a roll of bills fit to choke a horse.
Well, how'd you find that out?
I seen him when he paid for the parking space.
There's not a dime in his pockets now, Sandy.
Have you searched Parker here, Carney?
Yeah, he's got a quarter, that's all.
What in blazes is that?
Looks like a couple of the boys have stopped a car out there in the driveway in front of the service station.
Come on, Sandy. Let's find out what it's all about. It's a man and a woman in the car, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see anybody else.
What's this? Who are these people?
This guy started driving in here and then decided to back out in a big hurry. He says he don't want to get mixed up in anything.
Oh, yeah? What's your name, mister?
Henry Harper.
What made you think you might get mixed up in something?
Well, I saw the cops, but, well, honest, officer, I haven't done anything.
How'd you happen to be coming in here? You could see the station was closed, couldn't you?
Well, sure, I wanted to see if my partner's truck was here. It's Pierce. Got a job for Monday, and I wanted to check up on it.
Who's your partner?
Francisco Tonelli. He keeps his truck and car here and does grease jobs and stuff like that.
Where have you been tonight?
Oh, that is Miss Eubanks here and I went to the movies. We were on our way home when I said I wanted to stop here. Why? What's happened?
You don't know there's been a murder?
Good Lord, no. I swear I don't.
Well, a man by the name of Hanson's just been found murdered. He was lying by an auto body at the rear of the lot.
You mean the auto body where Sam Parker sleeps?
Yeah. Tell me, what do you know about young Parker?
Well, nothing much. He did some work for Tonelli and me. He dug a pit for us near the grease rack we just put in.
Would you say he's the type of man who'd commit murder?
Well, no. But then, of course, he was broke. Hobo. If the guy who got killed had any dough, you can't tell. Probably.
I see. Well, I'm sorry, Harper, but we'll have to hold you and your lady friend for further questioning.
Well, now, wait a minute, officer.
I'm sorry, Harper.
An hour or so later, Blaney Matthews and Lieutenant Sanderson are questioning Parker at the Central Homicide Office.
Parker, what did you do yesterday? That was Saturday.
I went to a movie about 4:30. When I got out, it was about 7:45, and I went to a dance hall over on San Pedro Street.
Did you know anybody at the dance hall?
No, but I met a girl there. Her name's Ann Smith. We danced together most of the time until it let out. That was about 11 o'clock. Then I took Ann to the streetcar.
Took her to the streetcar, huh?
Yeah.
And then you came back to the parking lot and smashed in Hanson's head for his bankroll. Is that it?
No, I never did. When I got back there, I walked around the corner of the truck. I seen that hat and leaned down to look at it. Then I seen the blood in the lining. I went on over to my shack, and I seen a man's body lying there, and boy, I burnt the wind to get that cop.
What time was that?
Oh, about 11:15.
And you have no idea who could have killed Hanson?
No, sir. Except it wasn't me.
All right, Parker. But we'll have to hold you as a material witness. Take him out and lock him up, Red.
Okay, Lieutenant.
Well, Matthews, what do you think?
Parker's story sounds straight enough. Still, he had a potential motive for murdering the old man, all right.
Yeah, that's true. Then, too, even though he only had a quarter on him when he was arrested, he still had time to hide Hanson's bankroll between the time of the killing and when he went out to call the officer.
What about this fellow Moore who runs the place?
I don't know. Henry Harper gave me Moore's address. I think we better send a man out to pick him up. And while he's at it, he might as well pick up Francisco Tonelli, Harper's partner. I'd kind of like to hear what he has to say.
Good idea, Sandy.
Well, it'll be daylight before long. I'd suggest we go back there to 9th and Wall in a little while and make a thorough search of that parking lot. It was too dark to see much of anything when we were there before.
Yeah. Maybe we can learn something worth knowing this time. Well, this is it.
Yeah. Let's hope we have better luck than we had last night.
You want to begin with Hanson's truck?
Uh-huh. We might find something that'll give us a lead to any relatives he might have, if nothing else.
You know, it's a funny thing. That man you sent out couldn't locate either Moore or Tonelli.
Oh, he'll pick him up sooner or later, I guess. I told him to keep looking.
Well, here's Hanson's truck. Apparently, he's slept in the back here.
Yeah. That's where we better look first.
If we have to, we can... Wait a minute. There's a young fellow unlocking the service station up front.
That must be Moore.
Let's go on with our work. See what he does.
Okay.
Wonder who the chap is who just pulled into the lot in that Hudson.
I know. Look here, Matthews. Here's $12 I just found hidden away in this corner.
Maybe Hanson had some more money hidden around.
Well, if he has, we'll find it all right.
Say, Sandy, that fellow who just got out of the Hudson.
Yeah?
He's fooling around that Pierce truck.
Pierce truck? Then that must be Tonelli. Harper told me the truck belonged to him.
Well, I'll be darned. We sent out a man to pick up 2 suspects for questioning, and he can't find them. Then the 2 suspects walked right into our hands.
Here comes the young fellow that opened up the service station. Wonder what he's got on his mind.
How much longer you guys going to be around here?
Who are you?
Ralph Moore. I run this station and parking lot. I wish you'd hurry and get through.
We're staying here until we find out all we want to know.
Yeah? I'm always busy on Sunday. Police being here won't help to promote good business.
Well, that's just too bad, isn't it? But murder's never good business.
Yeah, confounded cops always sticking their nose...
Charming fellow, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I don't see much of any place else we can look around this truck. A lot of good it did us.
That's a fact. It'll take a better find than $12.25 to solve this murder.
Not even so much as a clue as to whether or not he had any relatives. Well, let's go and talk to that fellow by the Pierce truck, find out whether he's really Tonelli.
Okay by me.
Hey, are you Francisco Tonelli?
Sure, that's me, all right.
We're from police headquarters. You know about the murder that happened here last night?
Sure, I know there was murder, but that's all I know.
I see. Well, suppose you begin with yesterday noon and tell us what you did until you went to bed.
Sure, why not? I look after the gas station in the afternoon because Ralph Moore said he want to go with old man Hanson to see about a truck. They left a little past the noon and come back about 3 o'clock.
Were they alone when they returned there?
No, Inez was with them.
Who's Inez?
It's a girl, a friend of a Ralph. Her and Ralph went in the office. I see him take a drink from a bottle.
What happened then?
Nothing. Inez and Ralph left after that, and I keep on look after the station.
Mm-hmm. What time did Ralph get back?
Oh, about 5:45. He parked his car alongside the truck. The one Harper and me use.
What kind of cars do you and Moore drive?
Mine, she's a Hudson. Ralph was a driver, Chevrolet Coupe.
All right, go on.
I went home about 6 o'clock and I clean up. Then I have a dinner with a friend of mine at restaurant. Then we make a shoot the pool until a little after 8.
Where'd you go from the pool hall?
I went to dance at the Shadow Ballroom on Oak in Washington Street with a girlfriend of mine, Hortensia Watson. We left about midnight. I drive her and her mother home.
In the Hudson?
Yes, sir. Then I went to a little eating joint on Pico Street where I met fella and I have a dinner with him. I went on home from there.
And you weren't near this parking lot all evening?
No, sir.
All right. We'll talk to you again later. Come on, Matthews. Let's see what Moore has to say.
Well, it's a cinch he can't tell much less than everybody else has.
Oh, Moore. Come over here a minute. I want to ask you some questions.
You guys can sure get in a fellow's hair. Fire away. What do you want to know?
First, I want you to tell me something about yourself. How old are you, and where do you live?
Not that it's any of your business, but I'm 24, I'm single, and live at home with my folks.
Have you had this job long?
Quite a while.
Tell us what you did last night.
Went out to see a girlfriend of mine last night. Her name's Inez Chapman. She lives with a couple other girls, Ruth Hill, Agnes Hamilton. Hey, they're Swell girls, too.
Never mind that. What did you do after you got there?
Oh, just fooled around, went out to get something to eat. There were other people there, and I was dirty, so Inez and I drove to my house while I washed and changed clothes. I didn't know anything about the killing till this morning.
Where's your car?
Oh, I haven't got one.
Oh, weren't you driving a Chevrolet coupe yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, where is it? Who does it belong to?
Oh, I left it where I found it.
Left it where you found it. Just what do you mean by that?
Well, That is, I...
Come on, spill it more.
I suppose I might as well come clean. I stole that car on Friday night from a driveway near 54th Street and 2nd Avenue. Used it until 2 o'clock this morning, after I'd taken Inez home. And then I drove it back to the place I'd gotten it.
You drove it to Inez's last night?
First time, I took a taxi cab.
Why?
When I started out of the station, the coupe had a flat tire. Went to a garage near here and told the guy to fix it up. And I called a cab and went out to Inez's, picked her up, came back down to the garage. Coupe was fixed up by then, so we took it.
All right, Moore. But you might as well make up your mind you're going to stay in jail until we can check your alibi. That goes for your friend Tonelli, too.
A few hours later, Lieutenant Sanderson is conferring with Captain James F. Bean, chief of the homicide detail, in the latter's office.
And you say you have 4 suspects in jail already. Is that right, Sanderson?
Yes, sir. Each of them had a possible motive, and they all had an opportunity to kill Hanson.
You're sure the motive was robbery?
I'm certain of it, sir. There's no trace of Hanson's bankroll anywhere. None of the 4 suspects had much cash on him when taken into custody, but it would have been easy to hide Hanson's money after killing him.
Mm-hmm. You better start seeing if you can break down one of the alibis. There's always the chance, you know, that someone besides these 4 might have murdered the old man.
Well, that's true, but I think either Moore or Harper or Tonelli killed him and dragged the body to Parker's truck so it'd look like the tramp had done it.
You mean because the lad's a drifter, the killer would figure it easy to pin the crime on him, huh?
Exactly. Well, I got to get back to my office, Captain. I have some people coming in who were with Moore last night, and this will give me a chance to check on his alibi.
Good. I'll see you later, Sanderson.
And I'll let you know if anything new turns up.
Miss Inez Chapman to see you, Lieutenant.
Okay. Sure in, Red.
Yes, sir.
With any kind of luck, Matthews, we ought to get some sort of a lead out of this girl.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's about time.
Lieutenant Sanderson?
Yes. Yes. Sit down, Miss Chapman.
Thank you.
Miss Chapman, how long have you known Ralph Moore?
About a month, I should say.
Tell me about what you did together on Saturday night.
Well, Ralph came over to the house in his working clothes. He said a taxi was waiting, that his car had tire trouble. We went to a chop suey house on Alameda Street, then to his house so he could clean up. We'd gotten his coupe from the garage first, though, and Ralph let the cab go.
Did you go inside his house?
No, I waited in the car.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice any scratches on Ralph? Any fresh wounds?
He had a bandage on his hand, but I knew he'd cut himself about a week ago. I didn't think anything about it till I saw fresh blood on the bandage.
Oh.
Ralph said he'd hit the cut and opened it.
Did Ralph tell you who owned that coupe?
Sure, he said it belonged to his mother.
What did you and Ralph do after he'd changed his clothes that night at his house?
We just drove around a little and then went to my house.
I see. Was Ralph nervous? Did he act peculiarly? Did he give you any money?
I didn't notice he was nervous. He was awfully dirty and apologized for not having gone home to change before he came. Said he'd been working. That was a little after 10 o'clock.
What makes you so sure of the time?
Because I'd been expecting him since 8, and he didn't give me any money.
What time did you finally leave Ralph?
Around midnight.
Oh, well, thank you, Miss Chapman. That's all. You may go now.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
You hear that, Matthews? Inez Chapman says she left Ralph at midnight. He told us it was 2 a.m.
Yeah, I got that.
I think I'll go out and make a thorough checkup on Moore's movements that night. If you drop back here in the morning, we'll see if we can't piece some of this tangle together.
Lieutenant Sanderson checks with the garage man where Moore had his tire repaired and with the cab driver. Both corroborate the statements of Moore and Inez Chapman. And then a startling fact comes to light. Blaney Matthews has just entered the office of Lieutenant Sanderson on the following morning.
Any new developments on the Hanson case, Andy?
Plenty. It's just been reported to me that the tire tracks we found that ran through that pool of blood strongly resemble those of a tire on Tonelli's Hudson.
Have you talked with Tonelli?
Well, of course. But he sticks to his original story like a leech. I've checked with the man he had dinner with that night, and he verifies Tonelli's statements. We haven't been able to locate the girl he took to the dance.
Looks like we're up against a stone wall, doesn't it?
Well, I've got both Parker and Harper waiting outside. I was just going to call Harper in when you arrived.
Think you might get something new by questioning him again?
I'm going to try. Send Harper in here, Red.
Yes, sir.
Well, I wish you luck.
How long have I got to stay in jail, Lieutenant?
Never mind that. You better come clean, Henry. You came back to the service station to meet your accomplice, didn't you? To meet the man who had killed Hanson and was going to split with you.
No. I was coming back to meet someone, yeah, but I didn't know about the murder, honest.
Who'd you come back to meet?
Parker.
Parker? And just why were you going back at midnight to meet Parker?
Well, I wanted to get a new axle for the Pierce truck, and I didn't have any money to pay for it, so Parker and I were just, going to steal one.
Huh?
He said he knew where we might be able to pick one up. That was all, honest.
Well, I'll be. All right. You can get back to your cell. Have him send Parker in here.
Yes, sir.
Well, if this case doesn't beat anything I've struck so far.
Yeah. We seem to be finding out everything but who killed Bill Hanson.
That's right. We can't find the murderer, but we've turned up one car theft and 2 potential robbers.
Yeah.
You want me, Lieutenant?
Yeah. Harper says you and he were going to steal an axle last Saturday night.
He what?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what we was going to do. But I didn't speak about it because the murder stopped the deal from going through.
Well, there's nothing else you've forgotten, is there, Parker?
Huh? No.
You know whether Tonelli ever saw Hanson's bankroll?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. He saw it all right.
Okay. That's all, Parker.
Well, so long, Lieutenant. See you later.
Well, that's that. We're no further along than when we started. They all have good alibis, Matthews. Harper, Tonelli, Parker, and... Wait a minute. Moore. Only Moore has no alibi. There's an hour or so the night of the murder he hasn't accounted for.
One of those other alibis might be framed. Moore seems like a nice chap. Good family and all. Certainly he doesn't need the dough like some of the others.
Granted. But there's a few things about that young man I intend to clear up.
What do you figure on doing?
First, I'm going over and talk to his parents. Then I'm going to make a complete search of that service station. I've just got an idea the murder weapon may be in there.
In both instances, Lieutenant Sanderson is rewarded. At the home of Moore's parents, a pair of blood-stained shoes is found. And at the service station, he finds a blood-stained gasoline pump wrench tucked away under some rags in a small cupboard. Back in his office, Sanderson orders Moore to be brought over from the jail so that he may confront him with this new evidence. He and Blaney Matthews are reading the police report on Moore, which has just been submitted.
Hasn't a very good report, has he?
Let's see, isn't it?
This report dates back 3 years to 1925, when he was arrested in Utah for auto theft.
Yeah. And a little later, he stole a Ford car in Los Angeles. He was apprehended at Provo, Utah, and sentenced to 10 months in the county jail. Broke jail, stole another car, and came back here. Caught by Los Angeles police and sentenced to federal prison at Leavenworth, Kansas.
I see he was released from there on June 26th of this year. Let's see. That's almost 6 months to the day from the night of Hanson's murder.
Here's Moore, Lieutenant.
Okay. Come on in, Moore.
Well?
Moore, you murdered Hanson.
What are you talking about? I told you before I didn't. If you ask me, I think Tonelli did it.
Oh, it's possible Tonelli had a hand in it. He hasn't explained that blood-stained tire of his yet, but I think he only drove you back to the station after you left the coupe somewhere. He didn't commit the murder. You did.
You don't know it. You can't prove it.
Oh, yes, we can. We found the gasoline pump wrench with the blood on it. We got the tan shoes you wore. They're stained with Hanson's blood.
What makes you think it was Hanson's blood?
That's what police chemists are for. We know you had a lot of money late Saturday night. Money you didn't get legitimately.
A lot of people paid their bills that day.
Well, not several $100s worth, they didn't. We know you were excited and nervous that night and that there was fresh blood on your hand bandage. We also know you didn't leave the parking lot until after Hanson was dead.
You guys are trying to frame me. Tonelli did it, or maybe Parker.
Now, look here, Moore. You've got a marvelous mother. She's a fine, sweet, religious woman. Are you being quite fair in not confessing this crime? In not clearing your soul? Come on, Ralph. Tell us what really happened.
I got pretty drunk after I left Inez. Been out in the afternoon. Hanson came into the service station office and asked me for a drink. I told him I didn't have one. He got ugly and started a fight.
Yeah? Go on. Then what?
I picked up a piece of iron. I didn't know what it was. Must have been that wrench. I hit him with it. He fell down. I hit him again. Hit his arms around my waist. I hollered for him to let go. He tried to get up. I hit him again on top of the head. He slumped down. This time he let go his grip from around my waist.
What'd you do then?
I didn't know he was dead. Heard footsteps on 9th Street. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. Hans was laying awful still. So I dragged him over to that old laundry truck body and took his money. I thought the police would think Parker done it. Then I ran away down 9th Street. When I got calmer, I came back. Got in the coupe and drove to the garage.
And you'd let Parker go to his death on the gallows just so you'd have some dough to blow in. Is that it?
I didn't mean to do it. I didn't.
I don't believe you, Moore. And I don't believe the story of the fight. I think you planned out this killing of an old man in your own mind and struck him down without warning.
Honestly, I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I wouldn't kill anybody on purpose. Honestly, I wouldn't.
And I suppose it was an accident that you took his money, too. Oh, no, Moore, it doesn't add up.
Can't you give me another chance?
The only chance you're going to get is to sit in a cell from now on. Take him out of here, Red.
In just a moment, Captain Smith will conclude our program. Don't forget what I told you at the start of the program, friends. Protect your car and the money you've invested in it with Realube, the motor oil that flows freely in the coldest weather and cannot be broken down at the fastest speed in the hottest weather. See your independent Rio Grande dealer tomorrow and get the money-saving power, pep, and mileage of Rio Grande Cracked, the gasoline that is famous for its real police car performance, the gasoline that is first in public service. And now, Captain Smith.
Ralph Moore was brought to trial in the court of the late Judge William Tell Egler and was sentenced to life imprisonment in Folsom. The judge was careful to include a recommendation that Moore never be paroled. The tire tracks of Tonelli's automobile were found to be mere coincidence, and he was cleared of any connection with the crime.
Thank you, Captain Smith.
Police calling all cars. Attention all cars. To cancellation of broadcast 273 regarding a murder. Suspect in this case is now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will not be on the air. But on the 3rd of March, we'll present The Unconquerable Mrs. Shuttle. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 273 regarding a murder. Assist the Dover police. That's all. Rosenquist.
The old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure applies not only to the health of human beings, but to the well-being of automobiles. Only tens of thousands of motorists have reworded it to read,
A crankcase full of Rio Lube or Rio Grande, Pennsylvania is the best way to prevent costly repair bills.
That's true. Rio Lube is another way of saying preventive lubrication. This pure 100% paraffin-based lubricant shields your motor, not only in the easy-going days of summer, but in the far-from balmy days of winter, because it's made that way. Rio Lube is so expertly refined that it cannot be slowed up by freezing weather, and it cannot be broken down by your engine at top speed. The instant you step on the starter, let it be in the cold early morning or late at night after standing out in the open several hours, Rio Lube or Rio Grande, Pennsylvania answers your command, immediately flowing to every part of your motor to cloak it with real life-preserving protection. And so, friends, why use some inadequate oil when Rio Lube has everything and costs you only 25 cents a quart? When you visit your Rio Grande dealer in the morning for that tank full of police car performance cracked gasoline, take on a crankcase full of Wear Preventing Rio Lube. You'll get the best that money can buy. The story we're to hear tonight has been taken from the confidential files of the sheriff of San Joaquin County. We have therefore asked Sheriff Martin Ansbro to prepare a foreword to our program.
We have stressed repeatedly on this program the fact that crime does not pay. We've cited many examples of criminals who thought they could beat the law, and criminal records contain many cases of clever men and women who have, for a time, escaped punishment for their deeds. Such was the case with the criminal in the story we're about to hear. But once more, we can point definitely to a case file and say most conclusively that regardless of how bold or crafty, how clever or stupid, the ultimate result of crime is the same. It cannot pay.
In the city of Dover, Delaware, Dr. John Reynolds had administered antidotes for poison to the daughters of Congressman Penn and his two grandchildren. It was obvious to the mystified doctor that the two women were beyond all hope of recovery.
How are the children, Doctor?
Well, they're doing nicely.
Oh.
They'll be all right in the morning.
And my sister?
She's a very sick woman. I can't understand what you and the children ate to have caused all this.
I know it was that candy. I only gave the children one piece each. But my sister and I ate a lot. It was just before we went to bed.
Where did you get the candy?
That's why I feel sure. Oh, it came in the mail from Stockton, California.
You mean a friend sent it to you?
I thought so. But I can't remember anyone I knew in Stockton.
Wasn't there any message with the candy?
Only a note that said, "Love to yourself and baby." I threw it in the fire. I can't remember anyone. I can't.
Mrs. Dunn. Well, there's nothing to do now but talk to the police about that candy.
Want to see me, Bill?
Yeah. Sit down, Joe. The police in Dover, Delaware want us to check up on a case for them.
As if we didn't have enough of our own cases here in Stockton.
Well, it seems a box of candy with arsenic in it was sent from here to a congressman's daughter. It killed her and her sister and nearly got the kids.
Was the congressman a Republican or a Democrat?
No, that's not the angle. If it was a case of some crank, it'd be a lot simpler.
What is it, then?
Well, it doesn't seem to be any angle. That's what we got to get.
Don't tell me we haven't anything to work on except a box of candy that was mailed from here.
Just one thing. This woman that the candy was addressed to had a husband. He was a war correspondent, and he knew a dame by the name of Cordelia Shuttle in San Francisco. She's living in Stockton now.
That's all?
That's all.
Well, did this Cordelia Shuttle know the woman she sent the fancy sweets to?
The war correspondent's wife? No, she never saw her.
This is marvelous. All we've got to do is find Cordelia Shuttle and put the cuffs on her for murdering a couple of women she never saw.
I admit the Dover police have a very flattering opinion of us. Of course, we could check poison sales and routine stuff, but a lead from that angle's a chance in 1,000.
Couldn't they get any more out of the husband about this Shuttle dame?
Apparently not. If we can establish a motive, we'll have something to work on.
You mean maybe he knew her too well?
Something like that.
But he knew her in San Francisco. I suppose all we'll have to do is ask Cordelia about their friendship, and she'll give us all the intimate details. Hey, by the way, how long ago did the guy know her?
Well, according to the report, 6 years ago.
6 years. And how long had his wife, that Cordelia never saw, how long had she been living back east?
5 years.
Listen, something's crazy about all this.
Well, I just wanted to see if you had the same idea I had. Well, go get your sample brush case.
I'll have to dust it off. So we're going to visit Cordelia and try not to sell her any brushes.
If she'll give us one good lead, we'll give her the best sample we got.
Sample of what?
Come on, let's get going.
You seem to be getting awfully fond of this brush-selling stuff.
It's amazing what you can learn about crime.
Good morning. Would you be willing to accept an absolutely free sample of a household brush with 1,000 uses?
Well, I really don't need any brushes.
Oh, but you've never seen anything like our line. It's the very best.
It's an awfully hot day. Could we trouble you for a drink?
Oh, of course. Come right in.
Thank you.
I always say there's nothing like a nice drink on a hot day, but you've got to promise not to sell me anything.
Oh.
My husband gets furious.
Yeah?
I just can't resist fellas like you with a good line of things to sell.
Well, you sure are generous. I mean, it's nice of you to give us a drink.
Oh, I'm glad to. I was just sitting around here thinking what a dull day it was. What do you boys have to drink?
Well, if you've got some water, that'd be just fine.
Water? Oh. Well, just sit down and make yourselves at home.
I don't think we're going to get any place, but...
Well, who wants to sell brushes?
Just let me lead the way.
When I think of all the energy I wasted dusting this brush case...
Pipe down.
Here you are, you boys. I'll drink some water with you, just to be sociable.
Thank you. Yeah, I sure was thirsty. This hits the spot.
Yeah, this is mighty good stuff.
Don't pay any attention to him. It's the first time he's ever tasted water.
You boys are terrible cut-ups. I knew it the minute I saw you.
Mighty nice little place you have here.
Yeah, but it gets awfully lonely. I mean, tiresome. My husband's away from home a lot.
Oh, you don't say.
Don't tell me you waste your life in this town.
See, I'll bet you've spent plenty of time in San Francisco. You're just the type for bright lights and gay night spots and all that sort of thing.
Oh, I've been to San Francisco. Who hasn't been?
You know, I'm sure I've seen you before. Weren't you in San Francisco about 5 or 6 years ago?
I might have been for a few days, but that's all. I've lived in Stockton ever since we moved from Kansas City about 8 years ago.
Well, I'm sorry we can't sell you any brushes, Mrs. Shuttle.
Hey, how'd you know my name?
Oh, yes, the lady next door.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the tricks of the trade. Well, we got to sell somebody brushes, so we better run along.
Well, come around again, boys, when you've got another line.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Goodbye.
Bye. Wow, that baby's been around. Think she got wise to us?
What do you mean, baby? She's 45 if she's a day. Maybe she subtracted from her age. You can see that 6 years ago she probably was able to do a lot of subtracting.
You mean distracting?
Yeah. So you're going to keep right on selling brushes to the entire neighborhood. If I know human nature and neighborhood gossips, you'll find out plenty about Cordelia.
But what if I sell all my brushes?
If you do that before you get the dope on Cordelia, you can turn in your badge and be a brush salesman.
Well, I got it, Bill.
Yeah?
There never was a woman that people were so anxious to talk about as Cordelia Shuttle.
Nice work, Joe. Come on, let's have it.
The first thing I found was that she's only been living here with her husband 4 months.
4 months? Where's she been?
In San Francisco. She moved to Stockton 8 years ago with her husband, but she was gone from home for weeks and months at a time. Then 6 years ago, she leaves for San Francisco and doesn't come back until 4 months ago.
Go on.
Oh, well, all I could get was that she was a neighborhood character, a very gay character. Until I got chummy with an old maid who lives in the next block. This old maid had a lot of cats and an album that covered every ghost in every closet in Stockton.
Yeah. What about Cordelia?
I'm coming to her. This old maid had a sister that lived in San Francisco and somehow got acquainted with Cleopatra Shuttle when she was up there.
Yeah?
Well, the correspondence that went on between these two old maids would burn up asbestos stationery.
Go ahead.
Well, just remember that Shuttle was 38 at the time, but she was really getting around San Francisco. Well, she was sitting on a bench in Golden Gate Park one afternoon when this fella comes along.
beg your pardon. You dropped your handkerchief.
Oh, so I did. How careless of me. You're so kind.
Not at all. It was a pleasure. Pleasure, I'm sure.
It's a lovely day, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. You make a lovely picture sitting there.
Oh, you men. Always so gallant.
No, that's not gallantry. I have eyes to see, and I never saw such eyes as yours. May I sit down?
Well, I really shouldn't let you.
Please, don't be so cruel.
No. No, I can't be on a day like this. After all, there's no harm in two lonely people talking to each other, is there?
How did you know I was lonely?
I guess I'm just psychic.
I believe that. Your eyes are hypnotic.
You say things so beautifully. I'll bet you're an actor. Or a writer.
You guessed it again. I'm a war correspondent for a bunch of newspapers. But right now, there aren't any first-class wars, so I'm at liberty. My name's John Dunn.
John Dunn? Why, I've heard of you. You're famous. And to think you're talking to a poor little girl like me. My name's Cordelia Shuttle.
It's a pleasure, I'm sure.
And, I'm not really a girl. I'm afraid to tell you how old I am. You won't be interested in me anymore.
Oh, but I am interested. Very much.
Well, I'm 33. There, I've told you.
But you're just beginning to live. And if you'll let me, I'll show you how it should be done.
Oh, that will be wonderful.
Of course, I'm only 28, but I've been all over the world, so I'm really a lot older than my years.
How is it that some lucky woman hasn't married you?
Well, I am married to Congressman Penn's daughter. We've been married a year, and I have a daughter. But with a man of the world like myself, there's no reason why we shouldn't see a lot of each other.
Now, that's a coincidence.
What is?
I'm married, too. Rich, isn't it? My husband and son live in Stockton. But my husband isn't interested in anything but business.
How droll. That rhymes with stroll. So what do you say if we take one?
And what would you say if we strolled in the direction of my apartment?
Oh, you kiddo. Yeah, if another war starts, they'll have to get along without me.
And that was the way they got acquainted 6 years ago. A few weeks after he met her, according to the old maid Grapevine, Dunn took an apartment in the same building with her.
Yeah, and his wife starts to wonder why he's away from home so much.
Right. Somebody writes her one of those well-wishing friend letters and spills the beans. So she picks up the baby daughter and heads for the congressman's home in Dover, and she's been there ever since.
And then?
Shuttle and Dunn get really spoony, and stayed that way for 6 years. Of course, by this time, Cordelia was 44 and had grown from the full-blown to the overblown.
Yeah, I saw that. What happened?
Well, Dunn's eyes started to rove around looking for less seasoned cutie. Then about 6 months ago, the Amalgamated Press assigned their war correspondent Casanova to Puerto Rico. But he had a neat little war of his own when he told Cordelia.
Is that you, Ducky?
Yes. I have some very bad news, Cordelia.
Why, what is it, darling? Tell me quickly.
I've been sent to Puerto Rico. I have to leave tonight.
But that's not sad. It's wonderful. I'll start to pack right away.
What? Oh, but you don't understand. I couldn't think of taking you to a place like that. That's what makes me so sad.
Oh, John, no matter what kind of a place it is, I'll go with you to the ends of the earth.
But I don't want you to. I mean, it's impossible. Absolutely out of the question.
John Dunn, you said you didn't want me to go. Just what do you mean by that?
No, I didn't mean that. Of course I want you to go, but you must realize I simply can't take you.
Why not?
Well, that is, Well? Well, isn't it enough that I tell you I can't?
No, it isn't.
All right, you ask for it. I'm going alone, and I don't intend to return to California. Ever. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see my wife when I get back from Puerto Rico. I hope she'll have me back.
Say that again.
You heard me the first time. I'm sorry it had to be this way.
Well, I'm so glad you're sorry. That's sweet of you, I must say.
Now, don't make a scene, Cordelia. You developed quite a penchant for that recently.
Oh, of course I shouldn't make a scene. You walk in here and tell me you're tossing me aside like an old rag.
Hag is the word.
Why,
Go ahead and scream. I'm going to pack.
Oh, you bet your miserable life I'll scream. After I've given you the best years of my life. If you think you're going to get away with this, you're crazy, you low-down, cheap, undercutting rat.
That's the general idea of how Cordelia and Dunn parted company 4 months ago. She came back here to Stockton and has been living with her husband ever since.
Oh, just like that, huh?
Yeah. She's a lady who does what she wants when she wants to, in one way or another.
Yeah, and we're going to learn a lot more about the bodacious Shuttle's ways.
You think she sent that dose of candy to Dunn's wife?
Now that we know her style of doing things, a lot of things are beginning to add up. Look here.
Just a plain handkerchief. Tag on it says...
It was sold at a store on Market Street in Stockton.
Well?
That's the handkerchief that was in the box of 2 bittersweet candy that killed Dunn's wife and her sister.
Didn't bother to take the tag off,
Yeah.
That sure looks like Cordelia's straightforward style.
Yeah, but we got to prove it. So you're going to that shop, and I'm going to the nearest candy store.
Right. Shouldn't be hard to describe Cordelia so they'll remember if she ever bought anything.
Cordelia is definitely a type. Mr. Hawes?
Yes, sir?
I'm from the sheriff's office. Do you have any other clerks that wait on customers?
No, sir. The candy business isn't rushing these days.
Well, I'm going to describe a woman that may have bought a pound box of candy a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks? I couldn't remember that far.
Now, wait a minute. Is your wife ever in the store?
I'm a bachelor.
Fine. Well, you'll remember this woman if she was in here. She has very striking, luminous eyes with long, wavy lashes.
Oh?
About 45 years old, somewhat buxom. In fact, quite plentiful here and there.
Oh, her, yeah. Well, I didn't think she was 45.
Oh, you do remember her?
Sure do. Oh, but that wasn't the only reason. She sashays in here, and right away I seen she was something special. I mean, she wanted something special, because she looks all around. And then...
I wonder if I could ask a very big favor of you.
Yes, sirree. You surely can, lady. Just name it.
Oh, that's sweet of you. I want to buy a box of candy, but I want a box without a label on it.
Oh, a label, eh?
Yes. You see, I want to send it as a gift. I want to send a handkerchief with it.
A handkerchief, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, reckon I can find a box for you. Something else I can do for you?
No, that's all.
Oh. Well, I sure hope you come around from time to time. Seems like you ought to be...
So she wanted to send a handkerchief, huh?
Yep. She ain't been back, though. And I gave her a special price.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Hawes.
If she comes back, shall I hold her till the police get here?
Meantime, Deputy Carson found the store where the handkerchief had been purchased. Then he and Brown began a search for the source of the poison.
I got it, Bill. With my description of Cordelia, they remembered her right now. She bought the handkerchief about 10 days ago. She's a gal that's hard to forget.
Yeah, it begins to look like she made it impossible for Dunn to forget her.
Now all we've got to do is find the drugstore where she bought the poison.
Find it? I'll bet we're heading for it right now. If I know Cordelia, she did her shopping all in a bunch. She went in here if she ran true to form.
We can't go wrong on Cordelia's farm.
Keep your mind on poison.
Well, gentlemen?
You keep a record of all poison sales?
Yes, gentlemen, we do. Will you step back here with me? You don't have to tell me where you're from. I've got a hunch. Here's a file of poison sales. Now, what name do you suppose was used in the reincarnation of Lucretia Borgia?
Huh? Mister, how come you're so far ahead of us?
I'll tell you, but first look at this name. Is that the one you want?
Cordelia Shuttle. It sure is. What made you remember her?
Well, she gave the darndest reason I've heard yet for wanting to buy poison. She came in about 2 weeks ago.
I want to buy a bottle of arsenic.
But, Madam, arsenic usually doesn't come in liquid form.
Well, then I want to buy a box of it.
We're compelled by law to ask what reason you have for buying a deadly poison, just as a matter of form.
I want to clean a hat.
Yes, ma'am. About how much did you... What did you say you wanted it for?
I said I wanted to clean a hat. It does clean hats, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am. But I could suggest something far more effective and less dangerous to have around.
If you don't care to sell me what I want, just say so.
Of course. I'm sorry. And now about how much?
Well, that's a lot more than we needed to know. Thank you. All right, Joe. Let's go see Cordelia again.
Will you let me be the one to put a little ring around her wrist?
And so Cordelia Shuttle went on trial in the Superior Court of California. 3 months later, after the court had relegated her to prison for the rest of her natural life, the judge received the most profound shock of his long and honorable career. As the justice was walking in the vicinity of San Francisco jail, a familiar figure strolled in his direction. A pair of luminous eyes attracted him.
Ah, good morning. How do you do?
Hello there, Judge.
I beg your pardon. Haven't I seen you somewhere before?
Now, Judge, for a smart fellow like you, that's an awful old line.
Well, I must beg your pardon again. I know you very well, but for the life of me, I can't place you.
Now, Judge, do you really want to know my name, or do you want to know me? Oh, you don't have to be dignified with me.
Wait a minute. I know who you are. You're Cordelia Shuttle.
Judge, how could you forget me?
Young woman, what are you doing out here on the street?
Why, Judge, I'm going home.
What do you mean you're going home?
I'm going to the only home I have now. Don't you remember? You sent me there. You said, Cordelia Shuttle, I sentence you to the penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. Well, that's where I'm going. You want to walk along with me?
Young woman, nothing would give me more pleasure.
As representatives of the Law Enforcement Society, we demand...
We're investigating the charges of the judge, and we want to know just why...
The law-abiding citizens of this community are enraged at the conduct...
We want to know why Cordelia Shuttle walks around the streets when she was sentenced to serve the rest of her life in prison.
Now, ladies, I appreciate the gravity of the situation, and as warden of this prison, I will do everything in my power to aid the law enforcement of...
We want to know one thing. Do you have Cordelia Shuttle in this prison?
I've got her. I mean, she's incarcerated here.
Will you please show us the cell where she's confined?
Of course I'll show you where she's confined. But it's not a cell.
And why not a cell, may I ask?
Ladies, there's such a thing as being a humanitarian even when you're a warden of a prison. Cordelia has a soul that would wither and die in a cell, and I'm only doing what I...
It's true that she walks in and out of this prison, these prison walls, when and as she wants to.
That's all we wanted to know.
Now, ladies, Cordelia Shuttle has never left this prison. The judge is an old man. He imagines things. He never saw her walking around the streets. Why, such a thing would be impossible. Her freedom ceased the minute he sentenced her to life imprisonment. I give you my word as a servant of this great state that I...
Oh, excuse me, Warden. I didn't know you had company.
That's her. It's Cordelia Shuttle.
Of course it is.
I'm very busy right now, Mrs. Shuttle.
We want to talk to her.
We certainly do.
Mrs. Shuttle, these ladies came here to... I want you to talk... do you mind talking to them?
Why, of course not. What is it you want to talk about? Girls?
Well, I must say that
we want to know if you have left this prison since you were...
Wait a minute, girls. I was sentenced to this jail for life, wasn't I?
You certainly were.
Well, I'm here. You see me here. We're all here. What more do you want?
I'll tell you what more we want. We want to see how you're living.
Well, now, girls, there is such a thing as a person's private life. How would you feel if I asked you how you lived?
Well, Warden, do you mean to stand there and allow
Mrs. Shuttle, perhaps you had better conduct the ladies to your quarters. I'm sure the ladies will understand.
I'm sure we'll understand a lot of things.
No, that's the right spirit, girls. Just come this way. You know, we women just have to stick together. You see, it's this way, girls. The prosecuting attorney made me look like a very bad woman, but I'm not really that way at heart. I've got a lot of love for my fellow man.
Yes.
Well, here we are. Not what you call pretentious, but it's homey.
Yes, isn't it? And that incense. Well, that provides the finishing touch.
Oh, that. One of the guards brought that in here for a joke. He said he liked to, anyhow, you know how guards are.
We don't, but apparently you do.
And this furniture. I didn't even know a warden lived like this.
Well, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Now, look here, girls. Who are you investigating, the warden or me?
Both of you. All of you.
Everybody. Everything.
Girls, calm down. There's nothing to get excited about. Now, one of the guards is going to bring my dinner up in a few minutes. Shall I order dinner for 3?
I think we'd better go.
I don't think there's anything else we can do.
Now, don't go away mad, girls.
Despite exposure, the invincible Cordelia Shuttle continued to live in luxurious surroundings during a succession of appeals. And then came the year 1906, and with it the San Francisco earthquake. An act of God against which even Cordelia had no defense. The county jail was wrecked. San Quentin became the home of Mrs. Shuttle.
Honey, come here a minute.
I've told you before to address me as matron.
But, honey, I just got to see the warden.
You've seen him before.
He don't understand. I got to...
I suppose I don't understand?
No, you don't. I want to see the warden.
Listen, 27837. You're just a number here. Get that?
I want to see the warden.
And I told you you've seen the warden. Let me put it this way. The warden has seen you. He doesn't want any part of you. Can you understand that?
You can't do this to me. I've been framed.
I'll have you framed in solitary confinement if you don't keep quiet.
But men are responsible for everything I've done. I'm being persecuted, I tell you.
Are you going to keep quiet?
I'll never keep quiet. I can't talk to you. You don't understand me. I want to talk to a man. Just give me one more chance with the warden. Hey, listen. You're a woman. Haven't you got a soul? Can't you see what this is doing to me?
Yes, I can see what it's doing to you. And I'm going to give you one more chance.
Will you? Oh, I knew you would. Here, let me out of this cell.
I'm going to give you one more chance to keep quiet.
Why, you dirty heel!
I'll get you for this. Nobody's ever double-crossed me and got away with it. I'll get you if it's the last thing Guard, put this woman in solitary. You can't put me away forever. And when I get out, you'll wish you'd never been born.
Quiet, you.
Hey, listen, guard. Hey, you're a man. I can talk to you, can't I? Now, if you'll just...
In just a moment, we shall present the concluding facts regarding our program. Before accepting the often extravagant claims made for this or that motor fuel, friends, give this fair consideration: that those who drive the most, who know the most about gasoline, prefer Rio Grande cracked. More police cars, ambulances, fire engines, and other emergency equipment are powered with Rio Grande cracked wherever it is sold than any other brand. Then try it yourself. And from then on, you too will insist on getting police car performance in your car. In the grim walls of San Quentin, the allurements of Cordelia Shuttle availed her nothing against the unsympathetic attitude of the incumbent warden. Prison hardships proved too much for her, and 4 years later she died. Her story is another example of the unalterable fact that crime does not pay.
San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars to cancellation of broadcast 273 regarding a murder. Suspect in this case sentenced to San Quentin. And that's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will present The Case of a Lesson in Loot. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 275 regarding a suspicious person at 5 and Broadway. Assist the officer. That's all. Rosenquist.
If you consult your radio log and find a program listed merely as talk, you'll probably skip it. On the other hand, if you know that your favorite subject is going to be discussed by a recognized authority who knows what he's talking about, you give him your undivided attention. That's why so many motorists listen to the drivers of police cars, ambulances, fire engines, and other emergency equipment when they talk about gasoline. These men who drive the most know the most about gasoline. They're the foremost authorities on what a motor fuel should do, how it should perform. And so it really means something when these experts recommend Rio Grande Cracked as the gasoline that meets every test of every emergency in any kind of weather. It really means something not only to us, but to you. The fact that Rio Grande powers more police and fire department emergency equipment wherever it is sold than any other brand. That endorsement of this better gasoline has led tens of thousands to make their own tests, has brought them the unequaled benefits of police car performance in their own cars. If you have not done so, I invite you to try Rio Grande Cracked. Test it from every angle, and when you've finished, you'll be as enthusiastic as the rest of us over its quicker starting, smoother acceleration, maximum speed, greater power, and real money-saving mileage. Get that tank full in the morning, friends, and you'll understand why Rio Grande Cracked is the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. The facts upon which the story we are about to hear are based have been taken from the confidential files of one of the most widely known detectives in the West. We have therefore asked Mr. Nick Harris to open our program.
Thank you, Dr. Lindsley. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to take my place among the law enforcement officers of the West who have appeared on this program and to endorse the ideals for which it stands. I have probably learned one thing more completely from my many years of investigative work than any other fact. That is, that crime of any sort cannot pay. Dollars are not the greatest cost that accrue to crime, despite the fact that billions are paid out annually towards its oppression and to its criminals. The supreme price of the evil created by criminals of our land is found in the moral, in the hearts, and in the souls of those affected directly or indirectly by crime. The story we're about to hear exemplifies most completely that statement, which has become almost a truism, that crime of any sort cannot pay.
Approaching the waiting room of a large department store in Los Angeles, Detective Nick Harris was wondering why his operative had insisted he personally take charge of what appeared to be a routine shoplifting arrest.
I'm glad you could come, Mr. Harris. It's really an unusual case, or I wouldn't have asked you.
What's unusual about a shoplifter? You've never had any trouble taking care of one before.
It's the girl sitting over there on the bench.
That girl?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's nothing but a child. Not more than 14.
I know. That's why the owner of the store refuses to prosecute her.
What did she take?
A pair of very good silk stockings. But you can see that she's dressed well enough. It's not a case of actual need.
You're right. If she gets off too easily this time, she may try again. And when they get away with it a few times, it becomes a habit.
You've always told me preventing crimes was more important than solving them.
Okay, I'll talk to her. She'll be less frightened if you're not around.
Well, I'll get back to work then.
You did the right thing in calling me. We'll see how it works out. Well, young lady, what's all this about?
I don't know. Honest, I don't.
You don't know? You admit you did take the stockings, didn't you?
Yeah, I took 'em. I mean, I don't know why I did it. Honest, I
Oh,
don't.
come now. We both know that. You wanted them, and either couldn't or didn't want to pay for them. You did want the stockings, didn't you?
I guess so. I don't know, I tell you.
Oh, here. Now, that'll never do. What's your name, young lady?
Pearlstein.
Well, Pearl, for your sake, we've got to think this thing out. The only people who get into trouble are the ones who don't think straight, or the ones who refuse to think of the consequences.
Everybody's always telling me to think. In school and at home and every place. I can't do anything I want to do.
Do you want to steal?
I told that woman I'd never do it again. I'm telling you, I'll never steal again as long as I live.
Now, believe me, Pearl, I'm not trying to be hard-hearted. But I know how easy it is to... let's talk about something else. Tell me about your home.
What do you want to know about it?
Why, about your father and mother and what your interests are.
Well, my mother's a widow. She has to work in a laundry, and we're terribly poor.
Pearl, I'll check up on what you tell me.
But I'm telling you the truth. Honest, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Mother has to work such long hours that my sister has to take care of the baby and me. My sister's only a little bit older than I am.
Mm-hmm. Now, Pearl, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to tell me the truth. I want to help you, and the only way I can is for you to have complete confidence in me.
I have. You've been nice.
Fine. You needn't be afraid, whatever your answer is. Pearl, have you ever taken anything like this before? Now, before you answer, let me explain why I ask. You say you don't know why you did it. Well, some people do it because they just can't help it. They're just a little sick in their minds, and they can be cured easily if we know that's why they take things.
Oh, no, I never took anything before in my whole life. Honest, I didn't.
All right, Pearl. And you're never going to again. So now I'll take you home.
Home? Oh, please, sir, I'd die if they knew anything about this.
Don't you realize how lucky you are in being taken home instead of the police station?
But Ma'll give me an awful licking. I just know she will.
Well, I didn't say I'd tell them.
But they'll know right away if I'm dragged home by a cop. I mean...
Just what do you mean?
Oh,
How would they know?
I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, Pearl. We're going home to see just how much you do know.
There's Margaret coming to the door. Please don't tell her anything.
Oh, I'm going to let Margaret do the talking.
What's happened, Pearl?
What made you think something might have happened to Pearl?
Why, I don't know. I haven't done anything, Margaret. Don't let him scare you.
Margaret, I'm not even going to ask you if Pearl has done shoplifting before.
But she couldn't have.
She was caught doing it by one of my store detectives.
I mean, she had money with her.
The stockings she took cost more than she had with her.
Oh. You come in the house. Just wait till Ma gets home. You'll get a licking you'll never forget.
Wait a minute. I've done everything I can in talking to her and bringing her home. But we know her now, and the next time we catch her, it'll be a long time before she comes home.
I'm sure Pearl won't ever do it again. And thank you very much for not arresting her this time.
This time, huh?
I'll never do it again.
Pearl, you have every chance for a happy life if you keep that promise.
Pearl Stein was soon forgotten in the maze of police duties, many of them with a less promising outcome. Several months later, Detective Harris was called to a Fifth Street department store. With him went two of his operatives, Mrs. Lillian Brooks and Lulu Lane.
This cashier's been taking money for some time. I'm going to look the situation over, and then it's going to be up to you girls.
Is the management sure about it?
No, that's why they called us in.
Well, if they can't find anything by checking sales, she must be smart.
Let's see. They gave me the location of her desk. I want to come up from the back. Yeah, there she is. You two stay here where she can't see you. I'll be back. Why, hello, Pearl.
Oh, what are you doing here? Checking up on me?
Just shopping, Pearl. I'm glad to see you're helping the family by working. How you like your job?
Oh, I like it lots. It's swell.
That's fine.
I want to thank you for everything you did for me. I've been behaving myself just like I promised.
Well, I had hopes for you, Pearl.
Oh, now you can just forget all about me.
Oh, I never forget anyone I try to help. But this isn't getting my shopping done.
Well, I hope I never see you again, unless you're shopping.
Bye, Pearl.
Goodbye.
Keep walking ahead of me toward the exit. That was Pearl Stein.
Does she have a record?
Not yet, but I'm afraid it won't be long now.
She can't see us from here.
Lillian, tomorrow morning you're going to have a job as sales lady here. You're going to be in a spot where you can watch every move Pearl makes.
And I'm going to find out what she does at night, huh?
Right. I'll send Hazel Brown to work with you. Meet her outside the employee's entrance when the store closes and stay with Pearl until she's tucked into bed.
Good grief, Hazel. I thought you weren't going to show up.
What's the matter, Lulu? Getting too old for these night watches?
I am not. I just didn't buy these dancing slippers for some truck driver in a beer garden to walk all over.
Beer? Don't tell me it's going to be one of those far into the night affairs.
Hey, wait a minute. Here comes Pearl now. The one with the 3 layers of makeup.
I could have spotted her without the tip. Let's look at your paper.
Huh. She doesn't seem anxious to catch a streetcar.
Well, she has a date. And at her tender age.
Tender? Don't you know that guy she's talking to?
No.
He works at department stores. On the lookout for young girls just out of school.
Well, let's go get him.
Listen, you know we can't touch him without evidence, and that's not our assignment.
Sorry, I just don't like to hesitate with his type.
Well, there they go. Will you bustle up another notch, Hazel? We've got work to do. my gosh, Hazel, what time is it?
It's only 11:15. Now, don't tell me you're tired of dancing. This is only the second joint we've been in.
Yeah, but it's the sixth they've been in. Think they'll recognize us?
No, they are both too drunk.
Well, let's sit in the booth next to them. Maybe we can pick up something of their conversation.
Let's. It's bound to be more interesting than dancing.
Listen to what you're saying to me. You think I'm pretty, see? I knew what you were thinking even before you said it.
You're a woman of the world, is that it?
Well, what do you think?
I told you. I think you're pretty. You said you knew that before I told you.
I didn't say I knew it. I said I knew you were thinking of before you said it.
Before I said what?
What's the difference? Oh, come on, Charlie. Let's go someplace else.
Okie doke. Anything you say is okie doke.
But I'm telling you, this place looks just like the last place, Charlie. Are you sure it isn't the last place?
Oh, no, Pearl, I ain't sure it isn't the last place. What if it is the last place?
I don't care. It's swell.
Sure, swell.
You know, Charlie, this is what I call living.
Yeah.
Doing what you want to do and not having anybody watching you and telling you to do something else.
You don't have to worry about that when you're with me.
Say, Charlie, it's swell of you to take me out.
Oh, I ain't doing anything. You're paying the bills, ain't you, honey?
Sure. So let's go someplace else.
Okay.
I want to have a lot of life.
Driver, put your lights out.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want the people in the taxi ahead to notice us.
Pearl's going into that apartment house. Where's her boyfriend?
Probably too drunk to get out of the cab. Yeah, there it goes.
Well, what now?
Oh, nothing until tomorrow night. I phone in the report tomorrow, but I don't get out of bed to do it.
What a night.
Yeah. And I'll bet Pearl shows up at the store in the morning as fresh as a daisy.
You mean fresh as a wildflower.
Pearl Stein had moved from the protection of her home and was now living her own life. For several nights, she was followed. Then one morning, Operative Brooks, still in the role of saleslady, phoned Detective Harris that she had ample evidence for an arrest.
Nice work, Mrs. Brooks. I brought Lulu Lane to help you. Pearl doesn't know her.
Hello, Lulu.
Hello there.
You will be a help. You see, Pearl's been forgetting to ring up sales, but I didn't know what she was doing with the money. I got acquainted with her and noticed she kept a makeup box right under the cash register.
Drop some money in that when she powders her nose, huh?
I think so. Now, I'll go and admire the makeup box and ask to see it.
And she'll head for the restroom to get the money out of it.
So I'll be in there to nab her when she does.
Right. Go ahead, girls. I'll phone the manager of the store.
Hello, Pearl.
Hello, Lillian. Your counter's not doing much, is it?
Nothing at all. Say, honey, can I borrow some of your lipstick? I can't seem to find mine.
Sure. Here you are.
Gee, that's a beautiful makeup box. Can I look at it?
Why, Oh, it's nothing much.
No, but it is. Say, I'd like to get one like it. Go on, let me see it.
Sure. Sure, I'll let you see it. But I'm going to use it right now. I'll show it to you as soon as I get back.
Okay, dearie.
Hey, what are you tearing up those sales slips for?
What's it to you?
Just this. You've seen a badge like this before.
Why,
Oh, no, you don't. Give me those sales slips.
Hey!
Hold on to her, Lulu.
I don't have to. I got the sales slips.
All right, take them. You haven't got a thing on me.
Those slips will add up to exactly what you had in that makeup box.
The money's in her stocking now.
That's perfect. Come on, Pearl. There's an old friend of yours outside waiting to see you.
That's the way it was, Mr. Harris.
So what?
What? No tears this time, Pearl?
All right, Copper, what are you going to do about it?
I'm sorry to say I'm not going to do anything. The management foolishly refuses to prosecute you because of your youth.
Youth? Oh, shut up.
I can see it won't do any more good to talk to you than it did the last time.
That's a break.
You're going to be discharged without references. It'd do you much more good to be put where you'd have to realize you can't get away with this forever.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. You're getting another chance you don't deserve. Pearl, why don't you go straight?
Say, listen, you'll never get anything on me again, Copper.
I hope there won't be anything to get on you.
Yes, you do. Nuts.
Despite Pearl Stein's attitude, she was unheard of for over a year. Then reports of thefts from department stores totaling thousands of dollars made store operatives wonder if Pearl had graduated into big-time shoplifting. Among them was Lulu Lane, who followed a girl and a man through the entrance of one of the largest stores.
Marie, come on and take a walk with me. We may have some work to do.
Sure, Lulu, but I thought this was your day off.
It is. But that's Pearl Stein ahead of us. She's with the fellow with the one arm.
Does she have a record?
Gotten off twice that I know of. We've been wondering about her. Hey, they're heading for the dress department.
How does she work?
I don't know what her style is now, but she knows me, so I'll go over and wait by the door.
I get it. If she lifts something, I'll give you the business, and you nab her as she goes out,
Yeah.
huh?
If she goes in a dressing room, get chummy with the boyfriend. It'll be easy to.
I'm practically in his lap right now.
And even though it does cost $500, it'll make me look just marvelous in my next picture. Don't you think so, Charles?
Sure thing, honey. Why don't you go try it on, maybe?
I think I will. The dressing rooms are right over here, miss. May I help you? Oh, that's all right. It won't take me a minute. I know I'm going to like it. And be right back, Charles.
I'll be here.
Will you excuse me? I have another customer.
Sure. That's okay. I'll have a smoke.
Oh, excuse me, but would you tell me which way the dressing rooms are?
Hmm? Oh, sure thing. Right over there.
Oh, there. Well, I was told to meet someone, but I don't see them.
Well, maybe they'll come along later. You have a seat?
Thank you.
Cigarette?
Oh, you're very kind. I don't imagine you're alone.
No. Not in this department.
I bet your girl's buying a wedding gown.
No such luck. She is getting a swell outfit. She's got a contract in pictures.
Oh, how marvelous.
Mm-hmm. Here she comes now. Where's the dress, honey?
I left it in the dressing room. Who's this dame?
She's just waiting for somebody. Clerk.
Yes, sir. I'll take that dress. But I just remembered I have to be at the studio in half an hour. Will you take a deposit on it? Certainly, ma'am. Where is the dress? I left it in the dressing room. Here's $5 on it. The name's Pearl Stone.
Come on, honey. You'll be late.
Oh, may I walk to the entrance with you? I always wanted to talk to an actress.
No, we're in a hurry. Just a minute, Pearl. Huh?
You!
Yeah, me. Up to your old tricks again, huh?
Listen, you hatchet-faced old... Say, you haven't got a thing on me.
Well, we'll see. What you get, Marie?
Plenty. It's a new gag on me.
Well, I'll be...
I left that dress in the dressing room, so you take your paws off me.
She wasn't that fat around the waist when she went in there.
So that's it. You wrapped the dress around your waist under your own dress, huh?
Listen, that isn't a dress under there. It's me.
Okay, then you must have eaten it, and that's against the law, too. Come on.
Pearl Stein pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6 months in the city jail, her youth acting in her favor. Upon her release, she was watched every time she entered a store. Pearl was now a master lifter and was fast becoming an expert criminal.
And if you're going to do any shopping in this store, Pearl, I'm going to come along and help you.
I don't need any store to help me shop.
Well, just the same, you're going to get that kind of help every time you go near anything that can be picked up. Save a lot of time.
You're going to tell me I can't even go into a drugstore without one of you rats following me?
I'm just curious about the number of times you go in drugstores. This makes the 9th one today.
All right, Stu. You'll find out anyhow. I want a 10-cent bottle of Paregoric.
Paregoric? Say, are you drinking the stuff?
No, I'll wash my feet in it.
And if I remember, that wasn't the hat you were wearing when you went in the store.
I just bought this hat cover, so you can get your hands off me.
You didn't buy anything, Pearl. But you did put your old hat on the rack and walk out with this one that you'd been trying on.
Oh, yeah?
And what's this bulge under your blouse? If you're putting on weight there, it's a mighty funny place. Come on.
Oh, all right. What's the difference? I might as well be in jail.
And so the first place you head for when you got out of jail the second time is a dress store.
I've been out 3 months. Hey, listen, who are you anyway?
I don't believe you know me at that, Pearl. You're too hopped up. Where are you getting the stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about. I work in this store.
Oh, so you work here. Well, tell me why you were heading for the entrance with that dress over your arm.
I was going to the buyer's office with it.
My mistake, Pearl. But if you go out that door with that dress, you know how long you'll go up for this time. Well, there she goes, Hazel. She's so high she doesn't even know what she's doing. Let's go get her. All right, Pearl, just take it easy.
Hey, get away from me!
Hold her wrist, Hazel.
I've got her.
Hey, I'll get you for this!
Got Hazel.
Take that!
I've got her.
After serving her 3rd prison term, Pearl Stein was not seen for over a year. Then, after arresting 2 men who had been systematically robbing public telephone pay stations, Detective Harris went to an apartment on South Main Street in search of the man who had been making master keys to the coin boxes. With him went 2 detective lieutenants.
Guess nobody's at home. No. Maybe it's a break. If this pass key works, we can look around. Well, I don't see any key-making machinery in this room, boys, anyway.
Me neither.
Wait a minute. There's somebody in the next room. Well, I'll be. Pearl Stein. What are you doing here?
Open that door, Pearl. Come on. You can't get out the back way. Well, you going to open it?
All right, let's break it open. What'd you throw out that window, Pearl?
What's it to you, copper?
Oh, you haven't had your shot yet this morning, have you? You're in a bad humor. Well, we'll just have to go down and see for ourselves what you threw out.
No, don't do that. Oh, don't do that to me.
All right, then suppose you tell us what this is all about.
Well, I've been living here with Ed Farley and his wife.
Yeah, go on.
I didn't throw anything out the window, but if you find something down there, you'll think I did.
Oh, stop beating around the bush.
I don't want to go up for that. Or you just can't send me up for it. You got to give me a break.
What are you talking about?
I threw about 60 of those master keys out the window.
So you're mixed up in that racket now?
No, I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm just living here with Ed and his wife.
Well, what are you getting hysterical about it for, then?
Because I threw something else out. Oh, you got to give me a break. If I went up for that, it'd kill me.
What was it?
Hypodermic needles. 4 hypodermic needles.
So you're peddling dope?
No, I'm not. Oh, you got to let me go. You got to. I can't stand it.
Shut up. Now listen to me. First, I want to know about Farley and these keys. If you're not mixed up in that, why'd you try to get rid of them? Well, come on, talk.
Him and his wife have been nice to me. I was trying to protect him.
All right. Now, I'll tell you what I'll do for you, Pearl. I'll give you a break if you tell me where Farley makes his keys and where I can get him.
How do I know you'll let me off?
I've always been on the square with you, haven't I?
Yeah, I guess so.
Then go ahead and spill it.
Well, Ed don't make the keys. A guy by the name of Jim Chandless makes them. I'll give you his address.
What was Farley doing with them?
He was selling them to young punks for $25 apiece. He's only sold 2 so far, I know that.
That's a break for everybody. Will Farley come back here?
Yeah, he'll be here. Oh, but you gotta let me get away first.
All right, Pearl. But we'll get you sooner or later if you keep on peddling that stuff.
I won't do it no more. I promise.
Yeah, I've heard your promises before. It just happens that I couldn't have sent you up for that anyhow today, or I would have.
What do you mean?
I'd have to get you in the act of peddling it or catch it with it on you.
And you made me rat on Ed. Why, you double-crossing heel!
Oh, no, I'm not. I told you you'd go in for it sooner or later, and I'm probably saving Farley and his wife from becoming addicts, if they're not already.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm going to go east, Mr. Harris. I'm going to try to get a new start.
Well, I'll hope for a miracle, Pearl. But I think you gave yourself your last chance when you decided to live your own life. You've been living it, but I don't think you're going to much longer.
Pearl Stein did leave Los Angeles, but instead of going east to a new start in life, she went to San Francisco. She found new companions, and the only change she made was to switch from morphine to cocaine. Quicker acting, more responsive to her deadened nerves. In a large building, a doctor greeted a new patient.
Will you come in, please? Sit right there.
Doc, I don't feel so good. I feel like, well, sometimes I think I'm dying.
Yes, go on.
I don't know what's the matter with me. I've never been sick before.
Young woman, what's the real reason that made you come to me?
I don't know.
You know as well as I do.
Yeah, I know. Oh, but you got to do something for me.
A sanitarium is the only place that can do anything for anyone in your condition.
No, you got to do something for me where I'm not locked up.
It's the only solution to your problem. It's your only hope. And frankly, I can't guarantee the results of that.
Oh, well, all right. I'm sorry I troubled you.
Don't you even want to try to do something for yourself?
Yeah, of course. My, these instruments are shiny. What do you call this one?
That's a scalpel. Please put it down.
I'll bet it's sharp. I'll bet you could kill somebody nice and easy with it.
Will you please put that down?
No, I won't. You know what I'm going to do with it? I'm gonna cut your face to ribbons.
You're crazy.
Yeah, that's it. I'm crazy. That's what's the matter with me. I've been that way for a long time. So don't you think you'd better do what I tell you?
Yes, of course I will. Anything at all.
Well, then, listen. You're going to give me treatments. And you're not going to say one little word to the cops. If you do, I'll get you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
I won't go to the police. I promise.
You promise?
Yes. I'll have you all fixed up in a jiffy. Now, just go out in my waiting room. Leave the scalpel here. There. That's fine. I'll be right with you as soon as I call a special nurse for you.
You're very nice, Doctor. I made a promise once, but I didn't keep it.
Give me the police department, quickly.
I heard that! Say you're not going to do that to me! You can tell the rats when they get here that you've killed me!
Come away from that window. Get back, I tell you.
In just a moment, Mr. Nick Harris will conclude our program. Remember, friends, all automobiles look alike in the dealer's showroom. It's what goes into the gas tank and the crankcase that makes a difference. And to make certain that the difference is in your favor, see to it that your gas tank gets real police car performance, Rio Grande cracked. That your crankcase gets Real Lube, or Rio Grande, Pennsylvania. The motor oils that can't be broken down by engine heat or slowed up by the coldest kind of weather. And now, Mr. Harris.
And thus, Pearl Stein ended her career of crime. Hers was a life that was completely wasted. Her story proves again that crime is a losing proposition.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars. Cancellation of broadcast 275 regarding a suspicious person. Suspect in this case committed suicide. That's all. Rose and quit.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Next week at this time, Rio Grande will present The Case of the $20 Bill. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.